call the meeting to order. Before we start the process of our meeting, Dawn, would you do the roll call?
I will. I also want to remind folks that we are live streaming and recording this meeting, and both of those things have already started. Jerry Abrahams?
Here.
Cindy Butts. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco.
Here.
Heidi DeWeingart.
Here.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Here.
Timothy Hodges.
Here.
Catherine McKinnon.
Here.
Commissioner Mascaro Bruno. Commissioner, I know you're there, but I didn't hear you.
Here.
Happens all the time.
Commissioner Perez.
Here.
Franklin Perry.
Here.
Matt Puglisi. Chelsea Ross.
Here.
Sarah Sanders.
Here.
Lisa Tupper Bates. Greg Ugalde.
Present.
We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Dawn, could you also go ahead and do the public comments, please?
Yes. This is the only opportunity on the agenda for the public to provide comments. If you would like to provide a comment, please unmute yourself and state your name. To ensure that everyone has the opportunity, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Hearing no comments, the public comment period has now ended. Commissioner?
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the report of our CEO. Nancy?
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2025. We have a very long agenda today, so in the interest of time, I'm gonna try to get through my report quickly. It's been a very busy January. I'm sure the commissioner can agree that the legislature is very focused on housing, and there's some just great needs out there, and resource constraints. So we're hearing from a lot of stakeholders about how they want to engage with us and understand how best to leverage those resources. So in thinking about all of that, we put together our goals for the year. We're going to continue the work we're doing, but try to expand strategically in certain areas to serve the needs of the state as best we can. So if you recall, I don't know if you recall, but at the November retreat, we talked about our strategic plan having 4 overarching areas of focus. They were relationship building and partnerships, financial and operational management, innovation, and organizational improvement. So with that in mind, I'll quickly go over our goals for the year. If you have any questions at the end, I'm happy to take them, or feel free to email me as well. So the first 3 objectives are around relationship building and partnerships, with the overarching strategies being around both targeted outreach to provide information and support around our homeownership programs, but also strengthening partnerships and raising awareness amongst a more diverse set of stakeholders, including the business community. So I know this was something the board has been interested in, having CHFA become more a part of the housing or business landscape. And so, yeah,
We have that, or has that?
we don't have a copy of that. Oh, you can't read it. Okay,
Can you?
we can email it.
Email it to the board
Absolutely.
members?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was, I apologize, it was a little bit late in development, so we haven't been able to send it around, but we can certainly do that. The third relationship, if you can make that bigger, perfect. Relationship building and partnerships objective is around elevating the visibility of CHFA and DOH through the housing related events, and coordinating those and and being able to use those events to launch, and create, buzz around, in the housing spaces. The next objective is around technology investments. I know, that we've shared with you that we have started to look at technology more broadly, from the enterprise perspective, and trying to marry, all of our IT priorities with the, strategic and business priorities of the organization, including electronic signatures, as well as, reporting at the enterprise level, and developing, our ability to automate, at the business unit level. Going on to, finance and innovation. So last year we explored the idea of creating for sale affordable inventory. We believe that we need both the programmatic solutions for this as well as the finance side. So we're gonna, spend some time this year engaging with other partners, that have similar missions and pursuing, their interest in collaborating and, providing resources that we can then leverage with our own lending, prowess, if you will. And so we've, a couple of the initiatives are around working with the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston, which has expressed an interest, in this space, as well as using Build for CT as a jumping off point for, a program for affordable homeownership, inventory. The next strategy is around best executions. Last year, we started the work of trying to develop an infrastructure, and this year we're going to actually onboard, some of those, broker dealers and, start to, create the pipeline to sell loans. There was a lot of conversation today at finance about, using our, how we're deploying our resources and whether we should be focusing on single family versus multifamily. And so, we want to use, part of the equation is developing the wherewithal to use the best execution that allows us to maximize, the use of scarce resources. And so, by selling loans, we would be trying to, deploy a platform or a methodology that, does not use tax exemption. And, if we can, be successful in piloting that this year, we can use that as part of our toolbox going forward. The mobile and manufactured home loan program was, greatly expanded with your approval last year. And so we're going to be doing some, expansion of the program with, in terms of lender participation, and hosting and creating a little bit more understanding of what CHFA programs will enable mobile and manufactured home, owners to, avail of. Some of this has to do with having the right, partners in place to underwrite these loans, but in addition, we think we need to provide, information as well. Continuing on, we all know that housing inventory in Connecticut is, very much in need of, being rehabbed. We have some of the oldest stock in the state. And so we're going to explore, home purchase, programs that, allow us to both finance the purchase as well as the rehab of the home. And we think, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, that we know that there are GSC programs. Hopefully they'll still be around, in the new administration, but, with their support, we should be able to, create the lending programs with delegated underwriting that allows us to, finance and purchase and perhaps securitize, purchase rehab loans. Non-first-time home buyers was something that we had, discussed with the board, a few years ago, and, we're going to continue to see if there's reasons for us to be in this space. Again, it wouldn't be to replace conventional lenders, but to allow those homeowners who need down payment assistance to perhaps buy their next home, allowing a first-time home buyer to move into their home again. Probably a very small program at this point, but allows us to maybe use the TEA platform more effectively. We came to you last year for a pilot program that would provide housing choice through a counseling program that we're calling HONI, or HONEY for short. And it's mobility navigating, more like a resource type position that would navigate, provide navigating services to households who are looking to either buy or rent their next home. The organizational development goal we've come up with this year has to do with continuing to invest in structured professional development, leadership development, skills development, career pathing, as well as ongoing job training. And so we're going to be doing that in a very structured as well as ongoing way throughout this year. The future of CHFA's workspace was something that we discussed with you at the retreat around looking at our existing space at 999 and doing a needs analysis as well as a cost benefit analysis of the highest and best uses for our resources in order to maximize the use of our building, and whether or not it makes sense for us to be looking at other options outside of our current workspace. We talked to you about working with a commercial broker and evaluating a host of options and coming back to you this year, and that is what we have here as one of our goals. Moving on to some of the multifamily goals, we've got quite a few here. A couple of days ago at Mortgage Committee, we talked about streamlining. We're very serious about it. We think we need to look at every single process, and I mean, we don't get through all of it this year, but we certainly will try. We know the urgency of trying to reduce cycle times, and to the extent we have the ability to reduce the complexity of our requirements while still being good stewards of the funds we oversee. We want to do that. We're working with DOH on a joint closing process as well, so that these are important aspects of our goals. Preservation, I know, has been brought up a few times. One of the things we're running into is a volume cap. I think we talked to the board about it in November, but we really are there's some headwinds with respect to our private activity bond volume cap. And so we're looking at preservation both from the perspective of, expiring affordability requirements, loan maturities, but also from the perspective of strategizing about where we would prioritize preservation, and looking at it from how do we develop a methodology that would look at things besides loan maturity and affordability restrictions, of course, would be important to us, but physical condition and financial condition would be considered as well, because the loss of affordability can happen in a number of ways, including reaching the end of those restrictions, but also through the loss of units that due to financial or physical condition may result in a loss of units in the entire portfolio. And so we're concerned about that. We want to make that a priority and develop a methodology for us to start looking at properties in this more complex way and prioritizing outreach and having that dialogue happen throughout the year. Couple more things really quickly. One of them is around innovation in mortgage financing and development. So I talked about the tax exempt bond, sort of constraints we're running up against, so we're gonna be looking at some other, executions. One of them is, the FFB program. I'm not sure it will be around, but, you know, I think we know that NCSHA, our trade organization, is gonna be, ensuring that the, you know, our interests are represented in terms of preserving this important program, and so we're gonna be looking to see if we can utilize this program. We would need Department of Housing's assistance in participating in the share program as well. And then we've been working on a non-CHFA construction loan model for TEB executions. What we're hearing is investors are interested in becoming a construction lender on many of our tax credit deals in order to maximize pricing on the equity side. And so we've been working actively with investors and some of the developers who have come to us to see if we can work with them to develop a model where we provide for that type of execution. And finally, but certainly not least, is our QAP is being opened up again this year. We had our first meeting with the task force of the board 2 days ago, and we're going to be conducting roundtable discussions in person or virtually, I believe, over the next couple of months, and updating and modifying the QAP for the governor's signature sometime in over the summer. There's a lot going on, and I'm sure this doesn't have a few things that we're going to learn about that come about during the session. So we'll respond as we usually do and make adjustments as needed. Thank you. Any questions for the board members?
I got one. I have one.
Sure.
First of all, apparently I'm not technically sound enough to raise the little yellow thing on my, I can't figure out how to do that. So I just raised my hand. Is there any take on what's going to happen with the administration change? And is there any, like, could there be any effect on us? You know, when I review the mortgage-backed portion of Project 2025, I use the example of FHA has statutorily a minimum net capital requirement of 2%, and they're currently at 18%. But Project 2025 is asking for them to raise the mortgage insurance premiums, not lower them, which I think signals to me what their attitude about affordable housing and participation. And I just wondered, like, have you heard things like, is there, like, if FHFA moves away from their affordable housing initiative, is that going to have any effect on us? I mean, is it in what, I mean, anyway, that was just, if you've heard anything out there, I was just curious.
No, I absolutely could. We're not hearing anything imminently. I think that we're being told that, you know, taxes and, you know, passing a continuing resolution and all of that stuff is going to be sort of, you know, more important for them in the first year, but that it'll be harder. There may be issues that we have to deal with or contend with, especially if the FHFA is considering moving the GSEs out of conservatorship as well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
so
part,
I think
that's
there
part
are
of Project 2025 also is they clearly state that. So, you know,
the more immediate issue is around tax credits and tax exemption of private activity bonds. Although NCSHA continues to message to us that although it's on the list of 2,600 programs that is under review, and a potential for a way to offset some of the tax, tax decreases they're looking at in the new tax law, that there's a general understanding and a general bipartisan agreement that private activity cap, at the moment anyway, is not in danger. I don't really.
I guess I was just curious because the way, administration recently reacted to like shutting funding down, like if they did something like, you know, okay, we just decided we're going to eliminate the tax credits, like what's the exposure that we have? Or, I mean, it's just such a crazy time. I'm just curious.
I mean, we can't predict, right? I mean, there will be
Yeah.
some implications if we have the taxes for corporations are gonna go down, tax credit investors are gonna reduce their equity, so that is more stress on the subsidy that we could put in. So there would be some impact, but at the same token, a lot of real estate people are part of that circle. So we gotta see. I mean, we can react. We try to prepare, but we will see how it goes. Thank you, Phil. Jerry?
Yeah, just one, I just want to add, I share Phil's concern, but also Celia, it's like I agree, there's not much we can do since it's so unpredictable. I do know that there are some people in the tax exempt community are extremely, extremely worried about both private activity and just more broadly tax exemption. This has popped up, you know, every so often in, you know, in when there's a change in administrations, but I think the level of concern this time is the highest it's been, you know, basically ever. Nina, you said that you had gotten some feedback. If you could make that available to folks, I think that'd be really helpful if possible. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's messaging more like, if we hear anything, we'll let you know. We're not hearing anything concerning, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, happy to share.
I mean, there's a lot of I would just kind of say smart people who I know are really, really concerned about tax exemption. So it's something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
Any other question or comment? Anything?
Yes, I'd like to introduce our external auditor, Representative Tom Goldfuss and Katrina Olson, who are going to talk about the plan for the external audit. Next.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. As we were introduced, my name is Tom Goldfuss, and Katrina Olson will help me go over the audit plan with you. We just presented this to the Finance and Audit Committee meeting earlier this morning. We went over these pages in detail with them, and we'll provide a quick overview of this. And if there's any questions, please let us know. What I'd like to do is, if you can jump to the third page of this package. And then one more. Yep, great, thank you. This is our engagement team. So I'll lead the engagement team for Whittlesley. Our information, contact, emails, and phone numbers are on this page. Lisa Wills is another partner in our office. She's the second partner and concurring partner on the engagement, and she provides a second review process of the financial statements and the audit work. As I mentioned, Katrina Olson, senior manager, is new to the team this year, although certainly not new to our firm or to nonprofits and governmental organizations. She brings a lot of experience to this team. And then we have the rest of the team repeating as well for the engagement. I think importantly to consider, we've done our independence work in relation to our relationship with CHFA for the year. We confirmed to you that we are independent and thus able to perform an independent audit. Katrina will go over audit timing and a brief summary of the audit plan. And then again, any time for questions, happy to have those.
Well, thanks, Tom, and good morning, everyone. I'm just going to move very quickly through some highlights of our audit plan. First, the timing. We have started our planning procedures and risk assessment procedures in December, and those are currently underway. We will perform field work the week of February 24th. That's when we perform the bulk of our year-end testing. We do conduct our audit in accordance with professional standards, which is generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. We'll communicate any significant findings, including any internal control related matters at the conclusion of the audit. Unless something very significant arose in which we would communicate immediately. So when we're planning scope, if you want to scroll down a little, thank you. So our audit is risk-based. That means we focus on areas with the highest potential for material misstatement. Next slide, please. We do consider also fraud risk, related party disclosures, and significant and unusual transactions throughout our audit procedures. So the final slide there. So this slide, I believe all this is included in your packet if you'd like to review in more detail. But just some of our key audit areas, I'd say the top three are first the federal and state single audit. So that includes testing compliance requirements and also internal control over compliance for major federal and state programs. So this does, for example, include your Build for CT and Time to Own programs. In regards to internal controls, we perform walkthroughs of key controls over financial reporting, and that does include IT and cybersecurity related controls. So the third item there, management override, we do address risk of management override of controls, and that is primarily through testing journal entries. So the other key audit areas are included below for your reference if you want to read further. And then the last slide, I just wanted to mention we did already review current and upcoming accounting pronouncements with management in detail and also with the finance committee. So were there any questions for us?
Thank you. So moving on, Azim, you're going to do the resolution for the finance committee?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Before you is a resolution pertaining to the private activity bond volume cap. Last December, the State Bond Commission awarded CHFA 11,518,800 of unused 2024 private activity bond volume cap. To preserve the award, the Internal Revenue Code requires us to file a carry forward application by February 15. We are recommending the approval to carry forward 100% of the award for homeownership. In addition, on December 19 of last year, the Census Bureau released the state's 2024 projected population number, which was higher than the prior year. The increase impacted CHFA 2025 tax exempt volume cap allocation and the 9% low-income housing tax credit calculation, and the lending plan has been updated accordingly. The resolution was presented to the Finance Committee, and the committee asked one question and offered observations surrounding the lending plan. The resolution was approved unanimously by committee, and I'll be happy to answer any questions from board members.
Thank you, Azim. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution presented by Azim?
So moved.
Have a second?
I'll second, Jerry.
Comments or questions? Hearing none. Dawn, could you do roll call, please?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams.
Aye.
Cindy Butts. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco.
Aye.
Heidi DeWinger.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Yes.
Timothy Hodges.
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon.
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno. Commissioner Perez.
Yes.
Franklin Perry.
Yes.
Matt Puglisi. Chelsea Ross.
Yes.
Sarah Sanders.
Aye.
Lisa Tepper Bates.
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Motion carries. Thank you, Dawn. We have the mortgage committee, and we have 9 items that needs to be approved.
Yes, we
So
do.
go ahead, Pat.
Good morning, everybody. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Kyle Walker presented a request for financing for 10 Liberty Street in New Haven. The total financing request was not to exceed $37,210,000. Financing is structured with an interest-only tax-exempt construction note of approximately $18,610,000 at 6.3% for up to 10 months, a tax-exempt construction to perm note of approximately $17,600,000 at a rate of 6.3% with an interest-only period of up to 10 months and then fully amortizing over 40 years. And finally, a $1 million note from the Affordable Housing Fund at a rate of 1% to be paid interest only during the construction period and thereafter with 25% of adjusted cash flow after the full repayment of the deferred developer fee. The project will also receive 4% tax credits and will result in the construction of a new 5-story building with 150 mixed income units in downtown New Haven. 8 of the units will be available to households earning 30% of AMI or less. And then 30 of the units will be for 50% AMI, 85 units for 60%, and 26 units for 80%. One of the units is going to be reserved for the maintenance supervisor. This is the first CHFA project that will utilize GRRF funds, which will support the use of a geothermal system, which will heat and cool the community. These funds were vital in closing the financial gap on this project. In addition to the financing to be offered by CHFA, other sources include $29.7 million in tax credit equity, $3.389 million in deferred developer fee, $4.36 million in energy credits, $14.5 million in total DOH flex funds, $3.1 million in the form of an energy loan from CPC, and $995,000 in DECD brownfield funding. Members of the Mortgage Committee approved the request unanimously, and I'll take any questions you might have.
And I have a motion presented by Pat.
So moved.
Second,
It's
Heidi.
Claudia, I'll second.
I do
Thank
have a
you.
quick question.
Yes, I was going to ask. Any
Oh,
questions
oh.
or comments?
Yeah, I thought you just did. So Pat, just a question on these deferred management fees. Is the agreement that they're allowed to take those in the future so long as we're current? Is that how that works?
No, Greg, the deferred fee we're talking about is part of the developer fee that's calculated upfront in these tax credit deals. And in most cases that we require the developer to defer a portion, a maximum portion, as defined in our QAP, in our procedures, toward the as a source to the project. So these aren't management fees. This is actually a fee that's built into these deals. And the repayment of that is through cash flow as the project goes forward. And there's limitations as to how quickly that full deferred amount needs to be paid. So, and that's primarily dictated in the relationship between the GP and the LP.
Okay, and it's monitored as you go.
Yes, it really comes after us. So
Yeah.
our construction loan, our perm loan, and then the deferred fee gets paid during the operation. So post construction, post lease up, it gets paid during the operational period of the property.
Good.
Thank you. Any other question or comment?
Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart. Aye. Claudio Gualtieri,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno. I don't know why I can't hear you, Commissioner. I'm so sorry.
Commissioner?
Oh, yes, I'm here, sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yeah.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Aye.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
You, motion carries. Pat, you continue with Enfield Manor.
Sure. At Tuesday's Mortgage Committee meeting, Sarah Simonelli presented a request for financing for Enfield Manor and extension in Enfield. The total financing request is not to exceed $23,840,000. The financing is structured with an interest-only tax-exempt construction note of approximately $18.3 million at 5.89% for up to 36 months. and a tax exempt construction to perm note of approximately $5.54 million at a rate of 6.55%, with an initial interest-only period of up to 36 months and then fully amortizing over 40 years. The project will also receive 4% tax credits and will result in the demolition of the 17 existing buildings with 80 units and the new construction of 2 3-story buildings to create 99 one-bedroom units, adding an additional 19 units. The project will provide housing to 62 households at or below 50% of AMI and 37 households at or below 60% of AMI. In addition to the financing being offered by CHFA, other sources include $19.757 million in tax credit equity, $852,000 in deferred developer fee, $317,000 in energy rebates, $4.3 million in total DOH funds, $338,000 in HTCC equity, $6.8 million in the form of a HUD 202 loan, $11.3 million in SIF funding, and $620,000 in the form of seller financing. Members of the mortgage committee approve the request unanimously, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. I have a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved, Kathy.
Second, Lisa.
Lisa, any comments or questions? John, could you please go with the roll call?
Jerry Abrahams.
Aye.
Cindy Butts. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco.
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Yes.
Timothy Hodges.
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon.
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Yes.
Commissioner Perez.
Yes.
Franklin Perry.
Yes.
Matt Puglisi. Chelsea Ross.
Yes.
Sarah Sanders.
Yes.
Lisa Tupper Bates.
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
John, Pat, next one, parcel B, phase 1.
Yes. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Colette Slover presented a request for financing for phase 1 of parcel B in Naugatuck. The total financing request is not to exceed $1.875 million. The financing is structured with a taxable perm only note of approximately $875,000 at 7.87%, fully amortizing over 40 years, and $1 million from opportunity funds at a rate of 1% payable interest only for the first 24 months, and then paid with 25% of adjusted cash flow after the full repayment of the deferred developer fee. The project received the 2024 9% tax credit award and will result in the new construction of a mixed income, mixed use rental property consisting of 60 units and 2,935 square feet of commercial space. It is in the center of downtown Naugatuck and just 1 block away from the primary commercial and retail area. The full master plan proposes 180 total units across 3 phases. The project will provide housing to 12 households at or below 30% of AMI, 24 at or below 50% of AMI, and then, and 12 at 80% of AMI and 12 unrestricted units. In addition to the financing from CHFA, other sources include $12.24 million in tax credit equity, $350,000 in deferred developer fee, $365,000 in energy rebates, $8.4 million in total DOH commitments, $1.5 million from FHLB, and $950,000 in the form of a developer note. Members of the mortgage committee unanimously approved the request, and I'll take any questions.
Comments or questions for Pat? Okay, John?
You need a
Or
motion,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
exactly. Thank you, Greg.
So moved, Chelsea.
And I'll second it.
All right, so John.
Yes, please.
Any comments?
Jerry Abrahams.
Yes, aye.
Cindy Butts. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco.
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri.
Yes.
Timothy Hodges.
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon.
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno.
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you, motion carries. Pat, Rotary comments in Stanford?
Yes. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Carol Gooden presented a request for financing for Rotary Commons in Stanford. The total financing request is not to exceed $14 million. Financing is structured with an interest-only tax-exempt construction note of approximately $8.25 million at 5.9% for up to 24 months. A tax-exempt construction to perm note of approximately $4.75 million at a rate of 6.45%, with an initial interest-only period of up to 24 months and then fully amortizing over 40 years. And finally, a $1 million loan from the Affordable Housing Fund at a rate of 1% to be paid interest only during the construction period and thereafter with 25% of adjusted cash flow after the full repayment of the deferred developer fee. The project will also receive 4% tax credits and will result in the construction of a new 4-story building with 39 units in downtown Stanford. All units will be dedicated to those with supportive housing needs. 31 of the units will receive either state rental assistance program or tenant-based voucher subsidies. 25 of the units will be available to households at or below 30% of AMI, and 14 of the units will be available to households at or below 50% of AMI. In addition to our financing, other sources include $8.36 million in tax credit equity, $1.2 million in deferred developer fee, $5.5 million in total DOH funds, $1.75 million from the city of Stanford, $2.45 million in the form of CIF grant, and $700,000 in grant funding from the Rotary Club. Members of the mortgage committee approved the request unanimously, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. We have a motion that will let us in December 25.
So moved, Chelsea. Second, Kathy.
Comments or questions? Don?
Jerry Abrahams.
Aye.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you, motion carries. Pat, reports, anyone have it?
Yes. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Colette Slover presented a request for financing for Terry Court. Total financing request is not to exceed $3.6 million. Financing is structured with a taxable construction to perm note of approximately $2.6 million at 7.1% interest only for 24 months, and then fully amortizing at 7.26% over 30 years, and $1 million from opportunity funds at a rate of 1%, payable interest only for the first 24 months, and then paid with 25% of adjusted cash flow after the full repayment of the full developer fee. Terry Court is an existing state-sponsored housing portfolio property owned and operated by the Willimantic Housing Authority. It was originally constructed in 1949. It's in need of significant upgrades and rehabilitation. The existing property is comprised of 68 two-bedroom units throughout 34 buildings. Once the project is completed, the property will be comprised of 2 one-bedroom units, 62 two-bedroom units, and 4 three-bedroom units. The project will provide housing to 11 households at or below 25% of AMI, 24 units at or below 50% of AMI, and then 33 households at or below 60% of AMI. In addition to the financing to be provided by CHFA, other sources include $1.245 million in CDBG Small Cities Funds, $3.25 million in DOH funding, $192,000 in energy rebates, $1.5 million from existing reserves, and $500,000 in HTCC equity. Members of the mortgage committee approved the request unanimously. and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved, Heidi.
Second,
Second,
comments or questions? If not, Dawn, could you go with the roll call?
Of course. Jerry Abrahams,
Aye.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWengart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you, Dawn. Motion carries. Next is West Hartford Fellowship.
Yes. At Tuesday's Mortgage Committee meeting, Steve Norris presented a request for financing for the West Hartford Fellowship Housing Redevelopment Phase 2 in West Hartford. Total financing request is not to exceed $15 million. The financing is structured with a taxable construction only note of approximately $13 million at 7.57%, interest only for 24 months, and a taxable construction to perm note of approximately $2 million at 7.385%. Interest only for the first 24 months and then amortizing on a 40-year schedule with a 35-year term. The project received a 2024 9% tax credit award in the preservation category. The proposed development is the second phase of a 4-phase project to redevelop 300 apartments for the elderly in West Hartford. The project currently consists of 7 existing buildings as well as the existing community center and will be demolished and replaced by 2 larger 3-story residential buildings with 77 units. The project will provide housing to 8 households at or below 30% AMI, 21 at or below 50% AMI, 33 at or below 60% AMI, and 15 units at or below 80% of AMI. In addition to the financing to be provided by CHFA, other sources include $19 million in tax credit equity, $2 million in a developer note, $6.235 million in total DOH commitment, and $400,000 in deferred developer fee. Members of the mortgage committee approved the request unanimously, and I'll take any questions.
I have a motion to approve the resolution presented by Pat.
So moved. Second, Lisa.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, Dawn, do the roll call, please.
Jerry Abrahams,
Yes.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWengart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you again.
Yes.
Thank you, I'm so sorry. Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Harry, thank you, Dawn. Pat, Wellington, and Madison.
Yes. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Steve Norris presented a request for a partial return of the 2022 credit allocation for Wellington at Madison, and approval of an allocation of 2025 credits in a like amount. Wellington received the 2022 9% award, which required a placed in service date by the end of December of 2024. Construction is complete and certificates of occupancy were in place for 4 of the 6 buildings prior to that deadline. But 2 of the buildings, a community building and a building with 4 units, didn't pass the blower test. In order to preserve the credits on the units that were not placed in service by 12/31, the developer made a request of CHFA to provide a return in exchange of those credits. Staff reviewed the circumstances contributing to this delay and determined that an exchange of credits was warranted. The developer is currently addressing the issues and expects to have the units placed in service by February 28th of this year. As we have indicated in prior requests for exchanges, this action does not impact tax credit availability to CHFA. This is largely an administrative function. The mortgage committee unanimously approved the request, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Moved.
Have a second?
Second, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. Any comments or questions?
I have a question.
Yes. Yes, Commissioner.
Can you expand a little bit on what was the delay?
Pat,
I'm sorry?
what caused the
Oh,
delay?
it was a blower test that was performed by the town. They were unable to get their COs in time for
And what
the
test?
December 30th.
What kind of test?
A blower test. It's an air test. They
Fireproof.
No, environmental, it's to make sure the building's
Yeah.
sealed properly.
correct.
Make sure there's not
So
too much
it-
energy lost through the doors.
Correct, and the developer is already is already working on repairing or upgrading the units so that they'll meet the blower test. And their expectation is it'll be overcome by February of this year, by the end of February of this year.
Right.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, John, please do roll call.
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Yes.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Galtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalden.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Pat, the last resolution that you have, no?
No, hang in there, I'm almost done.
The recapitalization of the small multifamily.
Yes. At Tuesday's mortgage committee meeting, Terry Nash requested the authorization for the recapitalization and expansion of the small multi-loan program that's available to CDFIs and nonprofits. As a reminder, the program commenced in 2014 with an initial investment of $5 million from CHFA's ITA funds. It was designed to leverage the relationship we had with CDFIs to help finance smaller, local investor-owned rental properties not normally financed through CHFA standard products. In 2017, an additional $2 million in ITA funds was committed. And then in 2018, funding was increased an additional $10 million, $5 million of which came from OPM and with a match of $5 million from CHFA's ITA funding. The current remaining balance available is approximately $3.6 million, with requests in the first half of this year expected to far exceed that amount. In January of 2024, the board authorized the modification of the program to reduce the number of required units to 2, increase the loan per loan request amount to $1 million per project, and to include rehabilitation as an acceptable use. Prior to that, it was simply for blighted properties. Those modifications have led to an increase applicability for the program and a significant increase in demand. The request before you is to authorize an additional $10 million, which may include state, ITA, or other funds, as well as to further expand the use of the program to include homeownership development projects. There was some discussion about the terminology related to which funds would be used. We've purposefully left it broad so that we have the flexibility to use whatever funds might become available to the program. Mortgage committee members approved the request unanimously, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Pat. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution presented by Pat?
So
So
moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? None, John, could you do roll call?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams,
Yes.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri,
Yes.
Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascara-Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Pat, the application for capital magnet fund?
Yes.
Just a question on the last one, if we can. Hi.
Oh,
Well, can you just refresh my memory? Is it 10 units or less that it's considered the small?
No, it's 2 to 20 now, Bill.
It's 2 to 20. Okay.
2 to
And
20.
as far as, and then I remember somebody saying before that there's a big difference in the cost of doing the renovation or build out in comparison to the larger units. Wasn't there like a huge difference in?
These are very financially efficient, but these are smaller projects. We generally see, 3 to 6 units. But we've now moved to allowing them to just do rehabilitation. So because this is just pure rehab and it's not coming in conjunction with the tax credit requirements and design standards, because this is fully administered through our CDFI partners, we're able to keep those costs. They're able to keep those costs very low. So yes, it's a very efficient program. And we're going to be looking to try to utilize this as much as we can. We've even met with some of the builder community to talk about the program.
Do you have statistics of the difference?
I'm sorry.
Do you have statistics of the difference?
We don't at this point, but we have the information is available, but we don't have we haven't done any analysis of it just yet, Bill, but we can certainly.
I'm just curious, and something, yeah, just, I just had somebody critique, reach out to me, made a comment about the cost per unit on some of these construction stuff and some of the large construction projects.
And we've had discussion. We have a lot of discussions internally, but we've had a lot of discussions lately about the costs that we're seeing that are in front of us. But I've been trying to make sure that we impart on the board members the different sources that come in that offset some of the other social initiatives that come along with our projects. For instance, we were just up at Oxo Boxo in Montville yesterday. That was the rehabilitation of a defunct mill. So there were a whole bunch of initiatives that were put into place there, right? We had a whole bunch of social agendas we had to address, including remediation, adaptive reuse. There's a mill building, there's historic preservation involved in there. But each one of those comes with a corresponding contribution to the project. So what we're trying to do is focus on what's the actual cost to develop the housing units, rather than look at the entire cost of the project, which has these other sort of ancillary purposes. So, we'll do a full analysis, and it's something that we've been working on over the past. Yeah, we can share it with them.
thank you, Phil. Could you do the next one?
My last one.
Yes, please.
On Tuesday, Terry Nash made a request to the mortgage committee to commit for use the CHFA's 2024 CMF award of $2 million. In March of 2024, the board approved the submission of an application to the U.S. Department of the Treasury for a CMF award. The application was submitted in April, and in October of 2024, CHFA was granted a $2 million award. In our application, CHFA committed to match that award with $2 million in opportunity funds. The combined amount of $4 million will be used to replenish the Affordable Housing Fund established in 2021 with our first CMF award. Use of the award requires a twofold commitment process. The first is the commitment for use that is the subject of this board authorization in front of you now. And the second is the individual project level commitments, similar to 2 of the projects that we reviewed earlier this morning. The mortgage committee members unanimously approved this request, and I'll take any questions.
May I have a motion to approve the resolution, please?
I'll move.
Second.
Second.
Any comments or questions?
I have a question. So,
Yes, yeah.
so I guess to Phil's earlier question, this is something that have we thought about? I mean, I know that the freeze was currently lifted, but and I know the capital magna funds disbursements to the treasury are a matter of law. But have we looked at the effect that if that any of the actions at the federal level will impact this program, and are we prepared for that?
I think we're still kind of in a
We
holding
have
pattern.
funding in-house.
We do.
If it were to get clawed back, I would assume that CHFA could come up with.
We've already gotten the money. Okay, I get misunderstood.
Yeah,
So we
do
have,
the money.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We do
All
have the
right,
money,
okay.
but Phil, these funds are used in a similar fashion to the way we use our opportunity fund. So it's just a sort of a supplemental addition to our opportunity fund use.
It's a
just,
gap fill.
Right.
yeah, it's used as a gap filler. It's the softest money that we can provide at CHFA. And so
Yep.
it just provides us a little bit more availability of funds for that project.
Yeah, but
No,
this
it's
is
great.
the
I know the program. It's a great program, and it's awesome. So it's because it's so flexible and it's great, and
Yeah.
our bank gets it too. So it's great.
This is we applied, we got approved, we got the money, but the program requires this 2-level commitment of use. So
Yeah.
this is the high level board saying you can use those funds for the purpose that you put in your application. And then what we have to do is on an individual project level, we have to get board approval for the use of those funds. So when everybody sees affordable housing fund, let me make sure I have it.
Liberty.
Like 10 Liberty, that's what we're referring to. And I'll make sure that we point that out to you in the future as we go forward to remind you that includes some CMF funding.
Thank you. Any other question? All right, Don?
Yes. Jerry Abrahams.
Aye.
Cindy Butts. Wendy Clark. Phil DeFranco.
Yes.
Heidi DeWeingart.
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri. Claudio, I'm not hearing you. I'll come back.
He
Timothy
stepped
Hodge.
off, Dawn.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Kathy McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mascaro Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
The vote passes unanimous.
Thank you, Don. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda, so we have 2 more agenda. Now items in the agenda we have is 11:07, so I'll go quick. The report from the personnel committee regarding 3 CAN positions. Just to remind you, that last year we talked about having a kind of a task force to go over these 3 positions that has been at CHFA through an MOA with the Department of Housing. So we were supposed to look for permanent positions, at CHFA. CHFA is, all the staff thinks that it should be at DOH. So it has been a lot of talk about, the positions so important because they are providing services to the Connecticut Access Network. So there was a discussion at the personnel committee, what would be the best place, what would be the best way to keep these staff that are part of these services that we're providing, especially because of the governor creation of the interagency council where he wants to bring all the different agencies to bring all the resources that we can in order to end homelessness or to reduce homelessness. So we have extensive conversation. The next, we're gonna be working with the personnel committee. They want to learn about the process of the state hiring process because it's very complicated, as well as Nancy will be looking into if they're gonna stay here at CHFA, what would that, the implication will be. So there's more to explore, and we will come back with a recommendation unless any other members of the committee wants to add anything.
So Sarah, it was hard for me to understand what you were saying, but I guess where I'm, so the personnel committee is going to come back and make a recommendation. Is there? I didn't hear all of it, so I guess maybe I can follow up with you offline, or if there's someone else I can talk to. I just want to make sure I understand.
Yes, you can call me. Yes, the personnel committee will have within the next 6 weeks. We'll
Okay.
come back with a recommendation.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so no questions. The consent agenda, then I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So
So moved.
Second, George.
Comments or questions? Don, could you please do the roll call?
Jerry Abrahams,
Yes.
Cindy Butts, Wendy Clark, Phil DeFranco,
Yes.
Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Claudio Gualtieri, Timothy Hodges,
Yes.
Catherine McKinnon,
Aye.
Commissioner Mosquera Bruno,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Franklin Perry,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi, Chelsea Ross,
Yes.
Sarah Sanders,
Yes.
Lisa Tupper Bates,
Yes.
Greg Ugalde.
Yes.
Vote passes unanimously.
Zero. Can we, the staff, look, it's very difficult to look at the middle of the table when I have the board members' screen on the other side. When I looked, you guys get my back, I guess, and I cannot, and John cannot hear me. So can staff look at, this is very difficult to manage. But anyway, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Can all, if everybody wants to go on, can you say aye?
Aye.
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 Have a great day. Have a,
Thanks.
bye-bye.
Aye.
We get a
Bye-bye.
lot done. Good.
Quick.